Today, I want to talk about the early developer. We have all seen the child who looks far more physically mature than everybody else, the child who maybe is emotionally more mature, and they have the potential to ruin everybody's experience on match day at the weekend if they are not managed correctly. But it isn't just about everybody else's game. If your child is the big child, then what can you do to best support them in their long-term development moving forward? Can you say that you and your child are thoroughly enjoying their sporting experience? I get that it's great to receive lots of praise about our children. I get that it must be brilliant that they score 4, 5 or 6 times at a weekend, the envy of other parents and other coaches as their team wins at the weekend. However, if this is not managed correctly, it could have a huge detrimental long-term impact. One day, other children will catch them up both physically and emotionally. Other players will join the system, and some of these early successes that your child will have experienced will soon start to diminish. They will still be there, I'm sure, but it will not quite be as frequent as it has been. And is your child in a position to deal with that moving forward? Is your child's coach focusing on developing their techniques, their skill development and their game understanding? Because these are the things that in the long term will benefit your child, as opposed to how many times they may have scored or how many times they have dominated certain events in training or in matches. I personally have coached a boy this year who is a bit of a man-child, a huge giant of a 13-year-old boy. And we made the decision with his parents earlier in the season that I would coach him as though he was 3'3" and 3 stone, and really look at what he was doing both in training and in matches. Yes, there were times of frustration for him as he was brought off the field, as I felt he was having too big an impact on the game and potentially ruining everybody else's experience. But we had spoken to his parents well in advance of the aims for the season and what he was trying to gain from it. It's really important that coaches understand the big child and that they do their very best to keep them moving forward on their sporting journey. As a parent, there are certain things that you probably want to avoid. Try not to let your child become complacent. Don't focus too much on whether they're winning or losing at the weekend. Try not to use the word talented or overhype achievements. They may struggle to maintain this. Our top 3 tips for managing an early developer. Ensure your child works as hard as possible at all times. If they find things too easy, you may find that they may not put the effort in. Focus on skill development, technique and game understanding, not on whether they are winning or whether they are scoring lots at the weekend. Put them in a position to fail. They need to experience this. Too much success too early can only lead to problems later on. If that means you have to move them into a different age group perhaps, then maybe that's an avenue that needs exploring. They cannot succeed all the time.